Welcome back to Lineage of Lies, where women who got counted out sit you down and tell you what happened next. Subscribe, because you'll want to hear how this ends. My mother slid a cashier's check for $1 million across the kitchen table and it stopped in front of my sister Madison. The whole room clapped. My aunt cried. My father studied his fork like it held the secrets of the universe. Nobody looked at me. I was 29, and I'd kept that family's books for 7 years. 2 weeks later, that same mother told me to pack my life into boxes. But being told to leave wasn't the worst thing they ever did to me. 5 years later, they would come for what I built with my own 2 hands, using my own name to do it. The dinner had a theme, Madison. My mother announced the family was investing everything in Madison's dream, a wedding venue called the Magnolia House. I asked about the projected overhead, politely. The clapping stopped. My mother set down her spoon. We'll talk about the boring parts later. Everyone laughed, relieved someone else got stepped on. I want to be fair, I wasn't jealous. The money frightened me, because I knew our actual books. Hardware stores don't have $1 million lying around. And I knew what selling everything to fund a dream costs when the dream doesn't pay rent. 2 days later, my mother called me into her study. You're 29, Mara. No husband, no plan, no spark. Every dollar goes where things grow. I said I'd run the store's books for 7 years without a paycheck. She looked genuinely puzzled. That was your room and board. This family invests. It doesn't do charity. You have 2 weeks. You're just wasting space here. Then, softer, almost kind, which made it worse, you don't water rocks, Mara. I nodded, because I'm the kind of person who nods, and walked out past the filing wall with my name in its folders. That night, I found the truth on her desk. A closing statement. My grandmother Ruth's farm, sold for $1.1 million. She'd told us both the dirt would split 2 ways, standing in the bean rows. But the will was never changed. My mother took it all and handed half to Madison at a dinner with clapping. A question opened up in me, cold and specific. If they took that so easily, what else had they already taken? I packed 29 years into 11 boxes. At the bottom of a drawer, I found a postcard from Grandma Ruth. Saw a palm tree growing out of a seawall today. Grow anyway. My last night, Madison leaned in my doorway with a glass of wine. Don't make it weird, Mimi. Mom just believes in me. I asked if she'd read the contractor bids yet. She laughed and said I sounded like an accountant. I said I was an accountant. My father passed my door twice, heavy socks on old pine. Both times he slowed. Both times he kept going. He left a $100 bill folded under my windshield wiper instead. No note. Some men give money because they don't know how to give words. Before I left, I handed my mother a typed page, a request to be removed from the family holding company she'd put my name on years ago. She set it under her stapler, unread, and smiled at a customer. Paperwork later, Mara. We're busy building something. Remember that page. It matters more than anything. I drove south to Cedar Point, a Gulf town full of small businesses drowning in receipts. But first, I discovered my college fund, an $18,000 CD from my grandmother, had been cashed out years ago by my mother, exactly when Madison needed money for a failed boutique. I had asked about it then. I was told I was being disrespectful. In my family, that ends the conversation. I froze my credit and mailed a certified letter demanding removal from the LLC. The green receipt came back, signed by my mother. I filed it. Who mails certified letters to her own mother? A woman who watched that mother keep every receipt from every vendor. Paper is the only witness that doesn't change its story at Sunday dinner. Cedar Point didn't care about my last name, which is the nicest thing a town has ever done for me. I got a QuickBooks certification, wrote the check on a washing machine with a hand that only shook a little. My first real client was Gus, a marina owner who dumped a shoebox of diesel receipts and said, The government says I owe 11 grand. I say they're drunk. Settle it. It took me 9 days. He got back $9,000. He looked at my invoice and said, "This number's wrong. You charge too little. Fix that, or I'll tell everyone you're cheap instead of good." He paid double and told the whole doc. I learned then, charge like you plan to be here in 10 years. By year 2, I had an office over a bait shop and a waiting list. Meanwhile, my cousin Jenna texted like a police scanner. The Magnolia House had fired its second contractor, flown in a lighting designer for the chicken coop, and was fully booked. Her commentary, "Booked ain't paid." I bought a broken house on the Dune line, my first dirt. The title search turned up something else. Stone Family Holdings had active UCC filings. Someone was borrowing money with my name still attached. I hired Patricia Vance, a lawyer who reads operating agreements for pleasure. We sent a third demand. Nothing. Then a hurricane nearly missed us. I hauled client records to safety, then set up a table at the church, free help with storm forms. Afterward, 15 new clients walked up my stairs. "You showed up when it was free, so we trust you now that it costs." My mother taught me love expects a return. Cedar Point taught me the opposite. The Magnolia House collapsed. Gates chained. Madison moved back to my old room. And in Harlow, the story became. Poor Madison and her cold sister in Florida who wouldn't help. Then a bank envelope arrived, notice to guarantor. Stone Family Holdings, $380,000 delinquent. My name on a loan I'd never seen. My mother called for the first time in years, tearful. "We're so proud of what you've built. Come to dinner Sunday. Just family." Patricia warned me, but one proud of you and I was driving north, checking my mirror at red lights. Dinner was perfect. My mother made my childhood favorites. My father pulled out a shoebox of clippings, my business mentioned, my photo, dated in pencil, kept. He doesn't talk. He archives. It's the only fluent language he has. I had to excuse myself and press a cold washcloth to my face. Warmth was the one weapon I'd never built a defense for. Then, over pie, my mother slid a green folder across the table, same gesture as that check 5 years ago. "The refinance needs $500,000. The bank just needs your signature, sweetheart. You're the only one they trust. This is your chance to finally be part of this family." I saw it all, Sunday dinners, my name spoken with pride. I was pricing it. Then I remembered the stapler, the page underneath. I said no. My mother's warmth drained. "After everything this family gave you, you'd refuse at my table?" I said, "You gave me 2 weeks and a curfew for the boxes." I left. My father caught me at the car, pretending to take out trash. He pushed folded pages through my window. "Your grandmother liked you best." In the motel, I opened them. The guarantee. My forged signature. And a notary seal swearing I'd stood before an officer and signed. I was 200 miles away that night. I have the billing records. Rosa has the security cameras. Patricia laid it all out. The handwriting examiner confirmed Madison had signed. The notary log, surrendered under subpoena, showed my mother's own hand, Mara E. Stone, personally known to me. My sister forged. My mother sealed. One daughter's hand, the other daughter's name, the mother's seal binding them. The whole family business, miniaturized onto a signature line. Mediation was in a conference room the temperature of a meat locker. My mother brought lemon bars as a flag. Their offer, I quietly take over the $380,000 note, sign confidentiality, and everyone remains family. Patricia opened our folder and dealt out the paper, the refused envelopes, my alibi, the handwriting report, the logbook page. The mediator removed his glasses. Their attorney went carefully blank. My mother asked for 10 minutes alone. She dropped the act. Your sister forged. I sealed it. Pay the note. Sign. Come home. I will stand in front of this town and say we were wrong about you. I will put your name back where it belongs. Then, the only true gift she gave me, my daddy handed our store to my brother because he had the smile. I swore I'd never split what I had. I backed the one who shined because nobody ever backed me. That's not cruelty, Mara. That's how it works. I believed her. I saw the whole assembly line, her father spending her spending me, the same coin passed down. She was offering everything I'd ever wanted. And I finally saw the flaw in the merchandise. If it can be purchased, it was never the thing I was starving for. I asked, if Magnolia had worked, if the million had grown, would you have ever called me? The vent hummed. She looked at me the way she looked at inventory and chose accuracy. She said nothing. The most honest conversation we ever had. Something in my chest that had been holding its breath since I was 9 years old finally exhaled. I stood up, lighter by one entire childhood. Back at the table, I said, I will not pay the note. The affidavit goes to the bank and the state today. I don't want their money or the house. I want my name out of their books. That's all I've ever wanted. I just spent 30 years calling it something else. My mother's composure cracked. You'd hand your own mother to the state over paperwork? I gathered my folder, squared it to the table edge. Paper is where you put me. It's the only place you ever put me. You don't have to be proud of me now. You just have to be careful of me. I know the difference at last. I signed the affidavit in Patricia's car. My hand didn't shake at all. Paper works slowly, then all at once. The bank rescinded my guarantee. The lawsuit was dismissed with prejudice, forever. My mother surrendered her notary commission. Madison entered a diversion. My legal fees topped $52,000. In the parking lot, Madison wept. You could have saved us. I said, no, Maddie. I could have paid for you. It's not the same thing. Nobody ever taught either of us the difference. For a second, something crossed her face that might have grown into understanding in different soil. Then my mother called her name, and she went. A month later, my father called, the first phone call of his life placed from the hardware store's back room. He didn't say hello. Your grandmother would have done the same thing. Faster. Don't tell your mother I said that. Click. I stood holding the phone for a long while. Some love arrives in code. You take it anyway. Months after that, a gray sedan idled at my gate. My mother behind the wheel, Madison beside her. My sister got out, stood in the sandy lane, and looked at my house, the straight roof, the storm shutters I'd hung myself, the garden coming up along the rocks. She screamed through the windshield, loud enough for me to hear over the surf. Why does she get everything? It was supposed to be me. My mother stared straight ahead, both hands at 10 and 2, doing inventory one last time, finding the count impossible. Neither saw me. The sedan backed out. That was the last time my family ever came to where I live. Now I tend a garden where the county map says nothing grows. I hauled the soil in myself, bag by bag, 2 summers of stubbornness. Sea lavender, beach sunflower, one absurd tomato plant Gus mocks and eats from anyway. My grandmother would have understood it on sight. My mother said you don't water rocks. I've decided after long study she was almost right. You can water rocks. You just have to bring your own dirt. Some nights I sit there with cold coffee and take stock. The number that comes back is one my mother's arithmetic had no line for, enough. It adds up to enough. Nobody handed it to me. Nobody can call it due. Nobody gets to appraise it off my shelf again. Your worth was never the number they wrote next to your name. People who make you buy their love are selling something broken. You were never the rock in their garden. You were the seed they refused to water. And seeds wait. Seeds grow anyway. If you've ever had to bring your own dirt, tell me in the comments. Somebody down there needs your version tonight. Subscribe to Lineage of Lies. Next week's story starts with a birthday nobody remembered. You'll want to be here.